everyone, it's Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com with a quick news update for you guys on how the creator might not get a prequel or a sequel. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. So this past weekend, Disney released a brand new 20th Century Studios film called The Creator, which has gone on to be kind of successful at the box office, pulled in around about 30 million over the opening weekend. Not massive compared to some of the big blockbusters, but the important thing with this film is that it does have a much lower budget than your typical big blockbuster, around about 80 million. So obviously if you put on advertising and promotion and stuff on top of that, then it does continue to add up. But this film has had pretty good responses from critics. I'm waiting to watch this one when it drives at home, like I think a lot of people tend to do now. But this film doesn't look like it's going to be getting a sequel or a prequel for a number of different reasons. Recently, the film's director Gareth Edwards took part in an interview with The Direct, and he was asked about the possibility of a sequel or a spin-off, which he went on to say, "It was a completely self-contained story. I don't like films personally that try to set them, unless you know going in this is part of a wider story. I feel like it's a bit cocky to do just part one of a three-part thing if it turns out basically. My favourite thing about cinema versus television is that cinema ends. And I really like it when you sort of work backwards from the end and everything's leading up to this climax, where there's a kind of mic drop moment, it's the credits roll, they're my favourite kind of things." He went on to add, "And so there's no intention to do part two or anything like that. It's a high class problem to have if the film did well enough that the studios want to do that, then you'll scratch your head and have to think about it. But I'm very happy to see this being just a standalone, one-off, self-contained story. Those are my favourite types of film." Now, I think this might have been a little bit different had The Creator been a massive juggernaut right out the gate. Had it made, $100+ million and it was looking like it was going to be $1 billion film and it was going to maybe set up a franchise. Maybe the studios then would be like, can we get a little bit more of this, Gareth? I don't think this one's going to do it. I think there's going to be word of mouth to get this film definitely probably into being in profitability. It's still got, obviously a couple more weeks and months in cinemas to kind of pour that money in. Then it'll make money on digital, then it'll make money on streaming, and then it'll be licensed out and stuff. So I don't think this film's going to be necessarily a flop. And we've seen some other films this year, like Elemental, kind of start off slow and kind of build up with word of mouth about the film. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all this comes together. I personally think it's a good idea when, if you're creating a film, you kind of should really make it part of a single story, make it so that is the key thing that you're going for, that it's nice and condensed, because there's nothing worse than kind of having things open up or trying to set stuff up. I mean, you look back at Disney's Artemis Fowl as a prime example of them trying to create a franchise, trying to create something that's bigger, but without maybe setting this, what we needed to do, and getting a bit carried away with the idea, well, we've got all these books, we can do all this stuff. With The Creator, simple film, keep it just self-contained. And I don't think we get that enough nowadays. There's always kind of spin-offs, prequels and all the rest of it. So it's kind of quite nice knowing in some way that The Creator is a single entity, and that's kind of how it's been set up. But let's be honest, if it made a lot more money, much more likely to get maybe a sequel or something like that. But I don't think it's going to happen. But let us know, would you like to see a sequel or a prequel to The Creator? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments below. Go check us out over at What's on DisneyPlus.com. Like, follow and subscribe, and I shall see you guys soon. Laters.